Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 88th Fighter Training Squadron Change of Command. To maintain proper decorum, you'll be given cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times throughout the ceremony. At this time, we ask you please turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices as this ceremony will begin shortly. Thank you. Good morning, I'm Captain Christian Culbertson, your narrator for today's ceremony. On behalf of Colonel Bernard High, the commander of the 80th Operations Group, welcome to our ceremony. We are pleased that you are with us to share in this important event. Today we pause to commemorate the change of command of the 88th Fighter Training Squadron, in which the reins of responsibility will be passed from Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell Koch to Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey. The commander of troops is the 88th Fighter Training Squadron Assistant Director of Operations, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Music, and the guidon bearer is the 80th Flying Training Wing First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Daniel Carter. The history of the change of command ceremony dates back to the militaries of yesteryear, where the common ground soldiers rarely saw their commanding officer. The change of command ceremony was significant and that gave the Turner echelons an opportunity to see their commander. The squadron colors, as part of a proud military tradition, have long been interwoven in the profession of arms as a symbol of freedom. Roman legions carried them to identify units, and kings carried them to offer a rallying point in battle. The necessity to keep the flag flying at all times has been a prime duty of soldiers, owing to its inspirational effect. The commander holding the unit colors bears the responsibility to keep the colors flying high as a rallying point for the unit and to accomplish its mission. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the command, the playing of the national anthems, and the invocation by Chaplain Carlos Ramos.
Please join me in a prayer. Lord, we meet here today to witness the changing of command, the 80th Flying Training Squadron, from Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell Cook and Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey. We acknowledge that all power at last comes from you. Therefore, we give you thanks for the authentic leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Cook, as he has skillfully and authentically led this squadron through great accomplishments. Lord, we realize that leadership, like Lieutenant Colonel Cook, will not have been possible without the foundation of support from his wife, Amber, and his siblings, Nolan, Aya, Micaiah, Eden, provided for him. Lord, we ask your blessings upon Lieutenant Cook, his wife, and their siblings, as they turn the page to a new and exciting chapter of their lives. Lord, may you grant both wisdom and direction upon Lieutenant Colonel Hickey as he takes command of this outstanding 80th Flying Training Squadron. May you bless his wife, Lieutenant Colonel Elia Hickey, sons William and Benjamin, and daughter Elizabeth, as they gather around him and support him through his tenure as he dedicates himself to the fulfillment of the mission and service of his people here at the 80th Flying Training Wing. Finally, may we commit ourselves to support Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey as we accomplish this mission together, knowing that the best days are yet to come. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Ramos, for the invitation. Please let me first introduce the official party and their guests. We ask that you hold your applause until the end of the introductions. Our host and presiding officer, Commander, 80th Operations Group, Colonel Bernard High, and his spouse, Gingy. Commander, 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell Koch, his spouse, Amber, and his children, Nolan, Asia, Micah, and Edith. Incoming Commander, 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey, his spouse, Lieutenant Colonel Elliot Hickey, and his children, Elizabeth, William, and Benjamin. Additionally, we are honored to have a number of distinguished visitors with us here today. Representing the Mayor of Wichita Falls, Mayor Pro Tem Jesse Brown. Mayor Burke-Burnett, the Honorable Carl Law. Commander, 82nd Training Wing, Brigadier General Ronald Jolly and his wife, and Yvonne. Commander, Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex, Brigadier General Chris Hill. And Commander, 80th Flying Training Wing, Colonel Lindy Renegar. Spouse, Vice Commander, 82nd Training Wing, Miss Carol Beliger. Representing the 82nd Training Wing Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Kenneth McPherson. Commander, 82nd Mission Support Group, Colonel Chad Treckengoss. Commander, 82nd Training Group, Colonel Michael Donahue. 82nd Training Wing, Dr. Lynn List, and her spouse, Chief Master Sergeant Dan List, United States Air Force, retired. Program Manager, M1, Colonel Mike Seville, United States Air Force, retired. Director of Maintenance, M1, Chief Master Sergeant William McGregor, United States Air Force, retired. We would like to thank all other special guests, commanders, senior national representatives, Shepherd Military Affairs Committee members, country sponsors, M1, and the hardworking men and women of Shepherd Air Force Base. Although time does not permit us to recognize all of our distinguished guests joining us today, we are pleased to have all of you in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 80th Operations Group, Colonel Bernard High.
Thank you. I'll do my very best. Mayor Brown, Mayor Law, General Hill and John Jolly, Colonel Renegar, Colonel Donahue, Colonel Treckengoss, Dr. List, Mike and Bill, Chief McPherson, SNR's distinguished guests, and above all, of course, spouses to the men and women of the NGIP program. It is time again to pass on one of our squadrons from one trusted hand into another, to make the transition with which we say farewell to a gifted and talented leader and say hello to a new leader. who has proven his talent and is now ready to test it against the great challenge of leading a squadron, the core unit in the U.S. Air Force. The constant change requires a common goal and vision, so we have a guideline our leaders can follow. The NJET program has such a strong guideline. Build partnerships, train NATO fighter pilots. That guideline is more visible in the 88th Fighter Training Squadron than with any other squadron in the NJET program. After carefully wielding our fledgling students in the 2T6 and the 2T38 squadrons, we select the very best to carry on to fighters, and we then mix them with the best students from other UPT bases and throw them into the capable hands of the 88th to form them into the wingmen that our air forces need to fly and fight in the most modern and most capable aircraft our nations have to offer. The 88th Fighter Training Squadron is a unit on which we have placed a tremendous stress. We have continuously put more students into every class since almost 3 years now than the squadron was ever designed to handle, to help fight the ever-increasing demand for fighter pilots. At the same time, every member of the squadron was struggling to maintain the highest quality of training for those named students. To upkeep the morale and motivation is one of the prime tasks for a leader, as these are key ingredients to keep a squadron running well and remain healthy. Lieutenant Colonel Koch did way more than that during his time as a commander. His squadron repeatedly aced inspections to include the most recent unit effectiveness inspection. More than 3 minutes. So we're good. We're good. We made it for more than 3 minutes. They dominated the competition for the ATC Top Fighter Squadron and the Top Overall Squadron, and members of the 88s took plenty of individual awards. Not only that, Lucky also developed plenty of future leaders and sent them on either to become commanders themselves or to be in key positions in the 80th Flying Training Wing or elsewhere in the Air Force. To consistently produce high-quality leaders and win awards, you have to have squadron leaders like Lucky, who carry that spark in them that will just inspire people to do great and perform at the highest possible pace throughout their careers. Lucky most certainly is an individual who has that spark in him. Seemingly without effort, he supported the wing where he could by adding work to himself, and besides commanding the 88s, also passed on his experiences and insights, mentoring future flight commanders and airmen in plenty of development classes. Besides all that, he managed to squeeze out some time to participate in a long-awaited exercise, Northern Lightning, where he could not only enhance the skill sets of his instructors, he was also able to enhance cohesion in his group of experts and revive what a fighter squadron is all about. The change of command is a time to say thank you. Thank you, Lucky, for the pride you had in leading your men and women, for the dedication you had for the job, and for developing the members of the 88s into truly great airmen, who are proving themselves as we speak and shape the U.S. and our allied air forces into the next decades. All of these achievements take one thing from our leaders, and that is time. Time taken away from our families. Although Lucky was one of the greatest advocates to thank our families for what they do day in and day out, he was also one of the ones that was guilty of not spending enough time with his own family. So thank you, Amber, Asia, Nolan, Eden, and Micah. That was correct this time, not named after the famous Formula One race driver, for the freedom you gave your father and husband to do what he did for us. Thank you, Lucky, for a job well done. But of course, we also want to welcome the new kid on the block. As Lieutenant Colonel Koch was, Lieutenant Colonel Hickey is already well known at NJET. Not for himself alone, but for the last name is already making a great impression on the NJET program, not only with Benjamin. Through his wife, who's commanding the Banshees and was obviously quicker than Mark. Mark Hickey, or better known as Nasty, was one of the emerging talents fostered by the 88th. Born in Bristol, Tennessee, commonly known as the Tri-Cities region, a city that shares a border with the same name, Bristol, Virginia, and is more famous to be the birthplace of country music. It brought forth the country legend, Uncle Charlie Osborne, the Bristol Motor Speedway, and the later Mark Hickey. It has 3 TV and 8 radio stations and a newspaper, and is about a quarter of the size of Wichita Falls. And just now, we are doing a flyover at the Bristol Motor Speedway night race. Mark is a graduate from the engine program, went on to fly the F-16 Fighting Falcon in Shaw and Spangdahlem, and became an IFF instructor in 2016. From early on in his career, he held positions with high visibility, like the wing exec position in Germany, because people recognized early what a talent they had in him. After earning degrees with MIT and as an Olmsted scholar, it was clear that Nasty was bound to become something big. He had a chance to work with NGIP as the Wing Chief of Safety, and then went on into the 82nd Training Wing to become their Director of Staff. Thank you, General Doherty and Colonel Belanger, for developing him into the leader he will shortly be, and even more so for giving him back to us. For a short moment, we were not so sure if he was really on loan or had entered a more long-term commitment, but currently we have him back. So Nasty is well prepared and versed in the skills necessary to become a great and gifted leader, and starting in a short moment, he will begin to prove it to all of us together with his wife Aaliyah, kids Elizabeth, William, and Benjamin. Team Hickey is on the go. Lucky, thank you for all you have done for us, for your friendship, your leadership, and your relaxed style. Thanks for being a great advisor and for being honest. Nasty, welcome to the team. Enjoy the ride. Happy landings and Hazel Bible. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel High. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Cope.
Publish the orders.
Attention to orders. This is to certify that the Meritorious Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell J. Koch for meritorious service 10 August 2014 to 16 August 2018. Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell J. Koch distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 88th Fighter Training Squadron, 80th Operations Group, 80th Flying Training Wing, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas. The outstanding professional skill, leadership, and ceaseless efforts of Colonel Koch resulted in major contributions to the effectiveness and success of the European North Atlantic Treaty Organization Joint Jet Pilot Training Program. As Commander, Colonel Koch led the squadron to boost efficiency by 25%, while enduring a 33% loss of instructor pilot manning and a 45% reduction of inbound instructor pilots, while simultaneously graduating the highest number of introduction to fighter fundamentals pilots in Air Force history. This, in conjunction with several other flight training initiatives, led to the squadron's selection as Air Education and Training Command's 2017 Top Fighter Squadron and overall Top Operations Squadron. Additionally, his leadership enabled a highly effective rating during the 2017 No Notice Commander's Inspection Program, where inspectors identified 4 strengths and lauded the unit for innovative mission execution. Furthermore, Colonel Koch enabled 2 perfect squadron safety inspections, each with 3 strengths. Finally, a testament to his caring, compassionate, and focused approach to developing airmen, the Profession of Arms Center of Excellence awarded him the 2017 Leadership Impact Award. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Koch reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to present the Commander, 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell Koch. Sir, thank you for the incredibly kind words. Commanding the Lucky Devils has been the highlight of my 18 years in uniform. Nothing has been so challenging and so rewarding at the same time. And as a previous commander, Lieutenant Colonel Blagg, somewhere out here, had told me as he handed over the squadron in the past, it's the best job in the Air Force. And he was absolutely right. But it wasn't because of the parking spot, and it wasn't because of the pin, it was because of the people. The Lucky Devils are blessed to be filled with incredible people who do amazing things. And all those things you heard about were because of them. So when I was a lieutenant in my first fighter squadron, my commander there told me that he felt like he was commanding 40 extra children. I think it was because of all the buffoonery that we as a bunch of lieutenants did to make his life miserable, but that has not been my experience. The best analogy I could come up with was a pack of sled dogs. Have you ever seen them work? I haven't personally, but I've watched lots of documentaries on it, and it's amazing. So when the owner of the dogs comes out to pick who's going to be on the team, every one of them is barking like crazy and pulling against a chain to be picked and put into the team. They all want to be there. And then after he straps them in, you've got this chain of incredibly strong dogs that are facing super cold temperatures, blizzards, ice, all kinds of that stuff. And with a single word, they all jump and strain against the harness, and they take the sled and they propel it through the ice and snow for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and they love every second of it. And that's, in a nutshell, what I've seen happen in the Lucky Devils. I've been blessed to be hitched with a team of fighter pilots, airmen, and civilians who absolutely love what they do and are passing along to the next generation. They work incredibly hard at it because it's in their blood, and they've accomplished amazing things as a result for the NATO Alliance, for the wing, and for our squadron. So the credit for everything you just heard goes to the incredible men and women of the Lucky Devils and the Devil Cats that fly with us for every accomplishment that we've received. It was their passion, their diligence, and their ingenuity that enabled us to overcome a loss of 33% of our manning and still accomplish the training of more IFF students than any IFF squadron has done in 1 year in Air Force history. It's an incredible accomplishment. On top of that, they've done it and made it fun, and they've enjoyed doing it. And as you heard already too, they've rocked every inspection that we had with numerous strengths, and were recognized as the top fighter squadron and the top overall ops squadron for AATC. It's an incredible accomplishment. The best part about it is that they've done it while loving and caring for each other. I've watched them lose family members and parents, gone through crises as members of their own families, and I've seen people come together and rally and care for one another, both for me and Amber and for other folks in the squadron. And so it's been more than just a fighter squadron, it's been a family. And for that reason, it's been my absolute honor to work alongside you all and your families day in and day out, so thank you for that. And although we've got the glamorous job of strapping on a jet and teaching wingmen how to dogfight and go to range and drop bombs, and generating air power for the NATO Alliance, we couldn't do it without the thousands of people, both on this installation and across the community, that enable us to do what we do day in, day out. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. But before we thank them, I've got to acknowledge my Heavenly Father, who's shown great kindness to myself and the Lucky Devils. I'm convinced that His hand has been upon us, watching over us, caring for us, and keeping us safe over the last 18 months while I've been here. You know, the Psalm says He trains my hands for war, and we have been successful in large part because of His favor. I also have to acknowledge the local community. When I started advocating for the base back in 2015 to protect it against wind farm encroachment, I was absolutely blown away at the lengths our community members went through to hop on a plane and go all over Texas and beyond to talk to senators and congressmen and explain why Shepherd was so special and important and why it had to be protected. And the result of years of partnering with the base to advocate for what we do and why we have to be here, we've been successful in holding back wind farm encroachment. And we're one of the only successful bases in ATC who's actually done that. And that's in large part because of the phenomenal community. And now at the squadron level as well, I've had the blessing of getting to partnership with our squadron of doctors, Mr. Jeff Taylor back there, Mr. Charles Francher. And it's been a microcosm of what I've experienced in the community as well. They have cared for the Lucky Devils as if we were their own. They've been great partners and become good friends. And I'm really thankful for you gentlemen, so thank you for what you've done. And to Mayor Law and Mr. Brown, we thank you for the support you've done and for continuing to support our community and our squadrons. General Jolly, Mrs. Jolly, along with the rest of the 82nd team, the fact that you've come to so many, pretty much all of our 80th Flying Training Wing Changes of Command, demonstrates the level of support you have for our tenant wing. So thank you for continuing to walk alongside us and help us accomplish the mission as you accomplish yours. Colonel Reniger, you represent a long line of wing leadership that has shown me and the rest of the commanders what it means to sacrifice for your people and to walk through challenges. I've learned so much from watching you and the rest of the commanders lead us through the challenges the Air Force has faced in the last few years and figure out how to care for the mission and balance that with the people at the same time. Thank you for that leadership opportunity. Colonel Hyde, couldn't have asked for a better boss. You were patient, always ready to listen. You always had wise words. You were decisive and even-keeled through all our successes and failures. Thank you for giving us the space to command while making sure the train never went off the tracks. I've told Amber multiple times I hope I can be more like you when I grow up. To the M1 team, you guys have done a phenomenal job, and you've enabled us to do incredible things despite the challenges we faced. And please pass along a huge thanks to the crew chiefs. I do believe that the Lucky Devil crew chiefs are the best ones out there in the line. They go the extra mile to make sure we're strapped in, to shake our hand, to meet us with a greeting, and to make sure our jets are taken care of. And every single one of our student classes always lauds the crew chief and says, wow, those guys were incredible. I wish I'd had that same experience to the rest of my pilot training experience. Those guys are great. And the fellow commanders, so Maestro and Marsa, Switch, Andy, Bolsa, Neo, and Shank, you guys have been great mentors. You guys have pushed me and challenged me. You've made me a better commander as a result. You've been a huge encouragement. Especially enjoyed our lunches where we can talk about our challenges and ways to face it. And I certainly wouldn't be the same commander if it weren't for you guys. So thank you for your friendship. To the folks who have made this possible, to Cash for organizing our change of command, great job. Thank you for doing that. Otto, appreciate the narration. Good job you've done there. To the first shirt, Master Carter, thanks for holding the guide on. And to Airman Stafford, wherever you are, for proffering for us. Thank you. Appreciate it. I also have to dedicate a special thanks to two people who are instrumental in my success on a daily basis. One of them is the absolute best secretary in UPC that the wing has, in my humble opinion. And that's Dina. She's done a phenomenal job. Always there with a smile, absolutely. The smile is always there. You're so kind to our students and our wingmen. At the same time, when there's someone out there who's not doing what they're supposed to do, you're like a bulldog off a leash. It's making sure it's getting done and taken care of. And more than just being a great secretary and now unit programs coordinator, you've been a good friend. So thank you for helping me all along. And to Otto, my exec, you've handled a mountain of work, especially as the number of people in the squadron dwindled. The mountain of work didn't get any smaller. And so previously when we had a large ADO shop with a lot of US speakers in it, they did a lot of the writing. But as those numbers dwindled, we ended up pushing that all to him. So he did it all with a smile, did an awesome job, and on top of that, he was our number 1 or 2 flyer just about every quarter we've had. I'm not sure how you did it, but I'd like to pick your brain for your secret to success. Appreciate it. All right, and most importantly, I owe a huge debt of gratitude to my beautiful wife, Amber. It's a testimony to your character, babe, that you not only survived the stresses of command, but I feel like we've come out the better side, or the other side, stronger. Despite the roller coaster, you've done it all while homeschooling 4 kids, coaching a team of women who support other women in third world countries to make their lives better, and you've loved the women of the Lucky Devils and made it a blast to be a part of Lucky Devils, whether you're a spouse or you're a flying member. You've also been my best friend, a phenomenal advisor, and always my biggest supporter. Every time I run into Pam Glendeming from the ops group, she tells me, your wife is awesome, you had better take care of her. She's right. And to Nolan, and Asia, and Micah, and Eden, you guys have made my command tours so much fun. I've never met anyone who had so much enthusiasm for First Fridays, jalapeno popcorn, foosball in the squadron bar, and hanging out and spinning in the chair in my office. I'm proud of the young men and women you become. So I've got a couple things to say thank you. I'll have those here. lastly, to the Hickey team. Nancy, you're the right man for the job. I've had the opportunity to work with you and Bolsa over the last couple of years, and what a phenomenal team you guys are. You've impressed me with who you are, not just as officers and aviators, but as individuals and human beings as well. It's been awesome to watch you get to where you are, and I'm really excited to watch where you take the Lucky Devils. I know they'll go to higher and better heights. And to William and Elizabeth, if you guys want to know where the jalapeno popcorn is, just ask my kids, they'll show you. I love it. So the Lucky Devils, finally, I'm extremely proud to have had the honor of representing you to the wing and to the world for the last 18 months. It's my time to hand over my lead sled dog slot to the next leader. So pull well, keep up the fire in your belly, keep your eye on the prize, and continue to do amazing things. Thank you. As a customary sign of respect, the members of the 88th Fighter Training Squadron will now render a final salute to Lieutenant Colonel Koch.
Present arms. Order arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we invite Colonel High and Lieutenant Colonel Hickey to join Lieutenant Colonel Koch at center stage, where Colonel High will officiate the change of command ceremony and formally pass the 88th Fighter Training Squadron from Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell Koch to Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey.
Publish the orders.
Under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51604 and Special Order Number G18007, effective 17 August 2018, Lieutenant Colonel Koch relinquishes command and Lieutenant Colonel Hickey assumes command of the 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas.
Officers, post.
Effective immediately, 17 August 2018, Lieutenant Colonel Hickey assumes command of the 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas.
Sorry, assume command.
Officers, post.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Ready. Rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you for the very first time the commander, 88th Fighter Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hickey.
Sorry, I got a little bit excited. 16 months ago, two F-16s from the 79th Fighter Squadron were supporting a nighttime raid in Nangarhar Province, Afghanistan. After insertion of coalition members in a known hostile area, the world erupted around the ground forces as they began taking enemy fire from all directions. As the only close air support assets on station, Captain Salvador Cruz and Captain John Niger quickly sorted friendly positions from enemy muzzle flashes, and each employed two precision-guided munitions in danger close proximity. As the firefight continued to rage below them, Group and SLAP coordinated with and marked the friendly locations for an AC-130, which began to do the amazing things that only an AC-130 can do. Captains Nygaard and Cruz remained on station to then coordinate attacks from an AH-64 Apache, and through a high level of situational awareness of the dynamic battle space below him, Captain Nygaard's initiative prevented a brewing friendly fire incident from happening. The decisive actions of these two Lucky Devil IFF graduates are credited with saving the lives of over 80 coalition forces that day. Despite their heroics, though, Sergeant Joshua Rogers, 22 years old, and Sergeant Cameron Thomas, 23 years old, did not survive this battle. When the Air Force presented Distinguished Flying Crosses to Captains Nygaard and Cruz at Shaw Air Force Base 2 months ago, the Gold Star family members for each fallen service member were in attendance. In an email response back to me last week, Captain Cruz related the importance of the training that starts right here in our squadron. He said, quote, "One thing I want to impress on the new guys is that this job can get real real quick. The people that we support are real people with lives and families, friends and loved ones. I struggled mentally for a bit after getting back from Afghanistan with everything that happened, not only on that story, but others that were equally as sporting. I felt guilty for having 2 American bros die while I watched, not being able to do anything but hope that the guys could low crawl 50 meters to get to 100 meters from the target. After meeting the parents of the killed in action and meeting the guys that were on the ground, I learned that you can do everything right, but sometimes bad things will still happen to good people. I count myself fortunate that I am able to look at myself in the mirror and know that I did everything that I could to be at the top of my game that night. With that being said, I want guys to be ready so that they do not regret it later. End of this quote. The 88's rich history ultimately dates back to its 1942 activation and initial campaigns in the China-Burma-India theater. Captains Nygaard and Cruz, though, represent our modern history, a history shaped by Lucky Devil Cat instructors such as Breaker, Otter, Willie, and Judge, all of whom either instructed Captain Nygaard or Captain Cruz, and Batter, who actually hooked Captain Nygaard on his first highest hut in the FN survey. In Batter's defense, he did overachieve, so his hands were kind of tied. So the 88 has a rich history, both past and present, and I am honored to be taking the helm as we continue towards our vision of being the world's premier IFF squadron. I'm also humbled to lead the great men and women represented by this sharp formation as we execute our mission of molding warriors, developing airmen, and supporting families. But as excited as I am to lead the future writers of combat history, I would be remiss in not thanking several individuals first. To all the distinguished visitors, as introduced by Colonel High, thank you very much for being here today. Your presence honors this installation, this wing, the 88th, and my family. Colonel High and Colonel Render, sir, thanks to each of you for this opportunity to command the 88th. Brigadier General Jolly, sir, thanks to you and Colonel Finley for the opportunities to work in the 82nd as your Director of Staff. I lead my time working with your agency chiefs, squadron commanders, and deputy group commanders, and so many others throughout your wing, a better prepared squadron commander. Brigadier General Hill, sir, thank you for making the drive down this morning from Tinker. And more importantly, thank you for your continued mentoring since our initial chats about the Air Force Academy 22 years ago. To Mr. Jeff Taylor, Mr. Charles Fancher of the Ford House, I look forward to working with you gentlemen more in the future. Your desire to volunteer time and energy as squadron adopters speaks volumes to the community support that this base routinely receives from the local area. Cash and the rest of the team, man, thanks for everything you did to make this change of command ceremony happen. Otto, thank you for narrating. Chad Ramos, thank you for the invitation. To Lisa Wyatt and Bill Clifton, thanks for help with some of the research for this speech. And to Kelly and the Shepherd Club staff, thanks again for helping out our family with reception to follow. To Lucky and Amber, thank you both for your amazing leadership of the Lucky Devils. Lucky, as you already said, and you'd be the first to always say it was the squadron members who truly earned all the accolades from this past year, but they could not have done it without your leadership. And Amber, thanks for your compassion and warmth in taking care of the spouses. I, for one, am very glad you're both staying in the area for a while, and we look forward to having you both stay part of the Lucky Devil family. Asia, Micah, Nolan, Eden, you guys are welcome anytime to come in the office and spin around in the chair. For my family, I think we have a couple gifts for them. Thanks, Cash. Mom and Dad, thank you for your love, your presence here today, and your never wavering support. Throughout my life, you've set an example of service to others as a lifelong middle school teacher and as mayor of our small town in East Tennessee. I hope my brothers and I have made you proud with the legacy of service that we have continued. To my oldest brother, Patrick, bro, thanks for being here. Thanks for the support during our respective Air Force careers, and thanks for not hitting my eye when you shot me with a BB gun when I was 8. Per the norm, I really wanted to tell a strike eagle joke on your behalf, but I've made my name here at Shepherd making fun of that other breed of less capable eagle pilots, and I really can't afford to upset half my instructor corps in the first 5 minutes of the time. To my kids, Elizabeth, William, and Benjamin, I would love to speak for a solid hour on how much I love you and how proud of you I am. And I know you want nothing more than for me to stop talking so you can go raid the juice boxes in the reception area. And a special thanks to Kelly Chillman, who flew all the way in from DC and is helping out with Benjamin. Finally, to my wife, Aaliyah, these next 2 years will certainly be a challenge as we work to achieve a healthy work-life balance. But just like all our other adventures around the world, there's no one else I'd rather have on my side. I love you, honey. Thanks, Pam. But enough talking, as we've got some flight briefs that start at 11:25. Before that, though, please join me for the reception to follow. And then it's time to get back to molding the next generation of 9 guards and cruises capable of employing decisive air power in support of our NATO strategic objectives. Thank you.
As a customary sign of respect, the members of the 88th Fighter Training Squadron will now render a first salute to Lieutenant Colonel Hickey.
Present arms. Order, arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to have served with Lieutenant Colonel Koch, and we wish him the best of luck. We look forward to serving with Lieutenant Colonel Hickey. At this time, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's Change of Command ceremony. On behalf of Colonel High, thank you for attending. Please join us in congratulating Lieutenant Colonel Hickey and his family with a reception in his honor in the 80th Operations Group lobby, which will begin immediately.
Squadron, dismissed.